Since the conclusion of Nigeria's presidential election won by the ruling party, the key opposition parties have alleged electoral fraud. There have also been heated conversations and arguments between their supporters online and offline. Concerned Nigerians are warning that these controversies may get out of control and threaten democracy. In this story, Gist Nigeria's Wale Fakile highlights Nigeria's long roads to democracy and what must be done to protect it.
It's a very touching moment as the Union Jack is brought down in darkness.
It's a new dawn as Africa's beating heart pulses with the rhythm of independence. But since then, it's been a long and hard road to sustain this democracy. Men and women have sacrificed and some have paid the ultimate price.
They said they wanted me to run and they would have shot me and moved on.
63 years down the line, Nigeria is perhaps at another watershed moment.
Is this what we really crave for? Is this the model of democracy we actually wanted for ourselves?
I don't think the officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces are interested.
These conditions or the situation around Nigeria there was suitable to hand over to a civilian government.
Nigeria gained independence from British colonial rule on October 1st, 1960. The first republic was born with Nnamdi Azikiwe as president and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa as prime minister. But this parliamentary system was short-lived as a military coup in 1966 brought an abrupt end to the fledgling democracy. From 1966 to 1999, Nigeria's political landscape was marred by a series of military coups, a civil war, and brief stints of civilian rule. During this period, the country witnessed turmoil, corruption, and political instability.
The first casualty is usually the Constitution. The next major cost has to do with the fallout from the suspension of Constitution, and that is the abuse of rule of law by the imposition of rule of might and suppression of the citizens and their rights.
But the desire for democratic rule never waned, and Nigerians continued to push for it. The Fourth Republic saw the return of democracy to Nigeria, with Olusegun Obasanjo elected as president in 1999. Since then, Nigeria has held several rounds of elections, each contributing to the strengthening of democratic institutions.
Political experts say the 2023 general elections were perhaps the most consequential in recent history. But since the polls, there have been a big part of allegations of malpractice, violence and voter intimidation from all political camps. There have also been calls in some quarters for results of the presidential poll to be cancelled. Nigerian rapper and activist Falz recently released a song to criticize the conduct of the elections.
There must be an open process, a transparent process. There must be a level playing ground for everybody to be able to compete, if you like, at the same level. And that is definitely not what we saw.
We must ask the questions. That is not to say that we cannot resolve those controversies. And everybody is following the right path. You question the elections, you go to court, you go to the tribunals, and you push your case.
But perhaps more worrisome was Nigeria's secret police, DSS, confirming it had uncovered a plot by some politicians to install an interim government, truncating the transition to another democratic administration.
The concept of an interim government is completely alien and strange to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We went through hell. It became tougher under General Abacha.
Richard Akinola is a journalist and pro-democracy advocate. He was one of many Nigerians who resisted former military head of state Sani Abacha's authoritarian regime in the 90s.
My instinct was to just run across the road, and but before I could gather my thoughts together, They bundled me inside a vehicle and zoomed off. And eventually, when I got some rapport with my captors in the detention, I was asking, you could have invited me as you did. You have done in previous occasions. And they said that they wanted me to run, and they would have shot me and moved on.
What did this democracy cost you personally?
Well, it cost me freedom. I was detained. A couple of times. Although Gani Fahimi was our leader. Gani Fahimi was the one that detained. Nobody was detained more than Gani Fahimi. And it was because of this military dictatorship that Dele Giwa was killed.
On its part, the military has dismissed the calls for an interim government, saying it is against the constitution. This retired army colonel tells me the military stance is born out of the maturity of Nigeria's armed forces over the years.
We have a military that is well exposed. We have a military that is, let me use the word educated, for lack of a better term. We have a military that is professional and that knows what it's doing. If we were belonging to any of these banana republics, which we are gradually tilting towards, this democracy could have long been forgotten.
He also tells me the military left in a stampede in 1999 without truly preparing the country for democratic rule. Sentiments this retired Air Commodore says are debatable.
The military did prepare based on the situations at that time. What was the population of Nigeria? How many political parties were registered then compared to what we have now? Were people clamoring to be president the way it is now? No, politics at that time was for few. But now the politicians have seen that is their way, is the road to wealth.
Despite the progress made since the birth of the Fourth Republic, democracy in Nigeria still faces a myriad of challenges. Corruption remains a crucial issue, with successive governments struggling to address this deep-rooted problem. Ethnic tensions and economic disparities also continue to threaten the stability of the democratic system.
We need to be real. The country is quite divided, and healing must take place. And that requires, building bridges across the ethnic divide, because this particular election, there was just so much of religious and ethnic barriers.
Now that this entire process is being challenged in court, will there be? Is there hope? Will there be some level of success with these cases? Because that, I think, is what the ordinary Nigerian now is looking to as something to restore hope in this our democracy.
We've got to go back to the drawing board. We've got to revisit even the Electoral Act. We've got to look at a lot of things.
Despite Nigeria's many challenges, the consensus on the streets also favors democracy.
I prefer the democratic system.
I love democracy. We all do, because the military is a thing of a past.
I don't prefer either. I just want a better Nigeria.
As Nigeria strives to strengthen its democratic institutions, the journey toward a more inclusive, accountable, and transparent system continues. The nation's resilience and commitment to democracy provide a beacon of hope for a brighter future for all Nigerians and even fellow Africans. Wale Fakile, Just Nigeria.
It's our collective responsibility to protect our democracy. What more do you think we need to do to protect our democracy? Tweet to us at Just Nigeria TV. We'd like to hear from you.